today. Are you relaxed? How about after watching this calming video clip? Relaxed now? This is CheckPoint. Welcome to CheckPoint,
the original satirical gaming news source and paddle game.
Try for a high score. Have you been keeping up on current events, or perhaps just paying any attention to the world around you, even a little bit? You're probably stressed out. But in good news, according to a recent study, gaming may help your body combat all the stress that's been caused by looking and listening to things that aren't your favorite game. This might sound obvious to you, but now there's another peer-reviewed scientific paper to throw at whoever gets between you and your gaming hours. Psychologists Gary Wagner, Andre Meltzer, and Andre Schultz led 82 individuals through an experience of mild torture in order to heighten stress, and then allowed them 2 distinct sets of content from the same video game. Then, they measured the participants' saliva, took EKG readings, and administered a questionnaire for self-reporting. One set of the participants only watched some of the less intense scenes from the game, while the second group played more violent action scenes. There was no control group because it's 2025 and everyone plays video games now.
Oh, they're not kidding. Graham's trying to wrap up his dailies during the recording.
I was being very discreet until you brought it up. The game in question was A Plague Tale Requiem, and the mild torture is known as the Socially Evaluated Cold Pressor Test. Basically, holding your non-dominant hand in icy cold water for 3 minutes while the researchers grill you a bit. The study concluded that while watching the less stressful parts of the game lowered stress markers the most, even playing the scary or gruesome parts of the game lowered stress noticeably. No word yet on how stressed out the participants were when they realized the researchers could have chosen from among millions of potential video games for them to play after icing their hands, and they picked the one that heavily featured hordes of angry rats. Like, okay, I get that my psyche fuels your work, but did you need to hit me over the head with the lab rat analogy? My hand is already so cold, and I'm so many experience away from my next mastery level.
Do you remember Commodore? The computer brand? They made the Commodore 64 and the Amiga, along with a bunch of other computers. Then they went bankrupt and had their trademarks and patents passed around over the last 30 years in a sort of nightmare blunt rotation. But now, Commodore is coming back! Again! And this time we can thank this YouTuber. Meet Christian Simpson, aka Perifractic, who runs the Retro Recipes YouTube channel. Simpson published 2 videos recently regarding his dream of helping Commodore come back to the computer market with a simple minimalist machine, and then ultimately being offered the chance to just buy the entire Commodore portfolio outright, which is a little like saying, man, I like candy, and then Willy Wonka just showing up to sell you the factory. This is some golden ticket nonsense. And congrats to Simpson for not only becoming the acting CEO, but also pulling a bunch of old Commodore employees out of their shared bed and back into the industry. What's next for Commodore then? Well, past is prologue in this case. Simpson wants Commodore to stand for digital minimalism, where their devices won't spy on you or get you doom scrolling or confidently pretend they're a person who has actual relevant answers to your questions. And also, this isn't about nostalgia, despite the fact that in the video everyone joining the company are people who either were there with Commodore at the beginning or currently work on projects for old Commodore systems. But you know what? We're not strangers to standing at the intersection of nostalgia and technology. Once a lot of us hit our 40s, we were sold back all the stuff that we liked when we were young. Graham even talked about that last week. And the formula, by and large, works. Those plug-and-play TV game units were everywhere years ago. Even Commodore got in on that with Jerry Ellsworth's C64 direct-to-TV. We're very good at eating yesterday's supper warmed up again and again and again. And because curry is better when it's had a day to really sit and stew, maybe we'll enjoy eating this new Commodore because it just tastes good and it doesn't shock our amygdala every 60 seconds. In short, this revival is awesome and unnecessary, and that's fine because dreams are unnecessary and weird and complicated. And frankly, it doesn't matter whether resurrecting Commodore goes anywhere we expect. It's likely some of the people who previously bought the rights and trademarks also had it in their heart of hearts that they were gonna do cool things. They didn't. Multiple times, they didn't. If the biggest impact of this new venture is ultimately a branding exercise where mod makers and hobbyists can apply for a Commodore certification and slap a C64 compatible logo on their 3D printed low-run PCB retro modern basement project, that's still severely cool for everyone who ever held a soldering iron.
Perhaps it's not better down where it's wetter. By which I mean the horrifying ocean of Subnautica. This week, in a big surprise for the community of Subnautica fans, and potentially an even bigger surprise for the people involved, parent company Krafton announced they were immediately replacing senior staff and creatives at Subnautica developers Unknown Worlds ahead of the sequel's anticipated early access release. Krafton, who bought Unknown Worlds in 2021, said in a press release, quote, "Unknown Worlds' structure and leadership will remain in place to retain its unique creative identity." Oh, sorry, that was a press release from 2021. The new one says, while Krafton sought to keep the Unknown Worlds co-founders and original creators of the Subnautica series involved in the game's development, the company wishes them well on their next endeavors, in a way that reads like they weren't really trying too hard to keep them. Them, in this case, being the CEO, Ted Gill, Subnautica 1's director and lead programmer, Charlie Cleveland, and Unknown Worlds co-founder, Max McGuire. It's unknown how this will actually affect Subnautica 2's development, but the new press release from Krafton heavily suggests they think it'll make things happen faster. The press release uses the word momentum twice, says eager players are anxiously awaiting the next game, claims Krafton's processes are essential to delivering the right game at the right time, and includes a quote from Krafton's CEO saying, "We owe our players nothing less than the best possible game as soon as possible." So if you're even mildly practiced at reading press releases, you'll interpret that as, "Holy crap, this game was taking forever, so we're bringing in the guy from Callisto Protocol because he has experience delivering a game on time and clearly won't get bogged down in details like whether it's actually good."
Microsoft celebrated being one of the most profitable and influential enterprises in human history by announcing on its Wednesday earnings call that it would be laying off 4% of its workforce. The expected 9,000 layoffs will be in addition to the 6,000 layoffs announced in May. The cuts seem to be heavily impacting game development. Thus far, Microsoft has announced the cancellation of Rare's Everwild and the closure of San Francisco-based studio The Initiative, along with the cancellation of its project, Perfect Dark. Other affected studios include Halo Studios, Sledgehammer Games, High Moon, Raven Software, Turn 10 Studios, King, and ZeniMax Online, whose MMO was cancelled. Xbox CEO Phil Spencer said the layoffs are targeted at, quote, removing layers of management to increase agility and effectiveness. Chief Financial Officer Amy Hood made a similar statement during Microsoft's third quarter earnings call at the end of April, saying they were, quote, building high-performing teams and increasing our agility by reducing layers with fewer managers. You might be wondering what agility means, since that's not a useful metric because Microsoft isn't a rogue. As it turns out, in management standard English, agility means fewer people telling me no. And in practical terms, it means security will escort you out of the building. Both statements concluded earlier comments about how everything is going awesome and everyone is making more money than ever and you're fired. And be joyous because these cuts aren't performance related. This announcement follows Microsoft's January announcement that it was spending $80 billion to build AI infrastructure, specifically data centers to train and deploy AI models. At the time, Microsoft Vice Chair and President Brad Smith said AI would, quote, drive innovation and boost productivity in every sector of the economy, especially if the United States, quote, doubles down on its strengths. Which strengths would those be exactly? A well-educated and trained workforce? Oh, no, we just got rid of those nerds. Presumably he means a loose regulatory environment, though the 10-year ban on state-level AI regulation was struck from the American budget bill the day before these cuts were announced. Do the words executives say in public mean anything? Not if they like having a job. The intended audience for these statements is investors. Considering the timing, these layoffs are taking place at the immediate outset of Microsoft's new fiscal year, and May's round hit at the end of the company's third quarter. This is almost certainly a cynical line go up maneuver, and investors reacted positively with Microsoft stock jumping 1.74% as of Thursday morning. The money to build the required AI infrastructure has to come from somewhere, and for Microsoft, that somewhere is apparently the future.
Can we also borrow money from the future?
Well, yeah, but when the bank wants it back, we can't fire 9,000 people.
Then we can only borrow money from the past.
You're right. And money was always worth more in the past.
It's brilliant.
Coming up, it's Sonic's 30th anniversary, and to celebrate, Sonic is reuniting with McLaren Racing after Ayrton Senna's win at the Sonic Grand Prix 32 years ago. Wait, but isn't it Sonic's 30th anniversary? Did he run so fast he went back in time? Is he stuck there now?
Is Sonic stuck there, or is Ayrton Senna stuck there?
We haven't seen Ayrton Senna in a while, so he might be stuck there.
That's true.
Yeah.
30, where are they at? Wait, how much more was money worth when Sonic started up? Paul, could you look up Sonic inflation?
Yeah.
Don't do that. Hey, everybody. Thanks for watching CheckPoint.
Sonic pegged inflation is
yes,
what I want to know.
Yeah, right. We want to know where it...
Yeah,
yes.
Sonic pegged inflation.
Perfect. Yes, great. It's going to be rough when it gets to his 34th anniversary. Mm-hmm. It's going to be bad. Something we didn't talk about in like one of the formal stories, because we weren't expecting Microsoft to lay off 9,000 people.
How about that?
Was the I can't remember the name. I wanted to say stop making games, and that's definitely not
Stop killing games.
Thank you.
That's a completely different anarcho-socialist.
Totally different thing.
Yeah.
They achieved their sort of petition threshold.
In the EU or?
Yeah. So this is their this is to a petition to get, hopefully, the government to oblige gaming publishers to stop doing the thing where you buy a game and then the publisher goes, it doesn't work now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So great.
Yeah.
Excited that that's moving to the next stage, and I hope it's success.
I love to see what kind of laws you have to write to like enshrine that kind of thing, and how it will make things very different and very heady for the developers involved, obviously. But you know, I think it's a responsible thing. I think be a very interesting thing to see how they want to make that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
9,000 people plus 6,000 people just months ago. That's so many people.
Yeah. 15,000 people just kind of like out on their ear immediately. And it's funny because it's 4% of the workforce. And you're like, oh, right, because Microsoft employs so many people ultimately.
The 9,000 is 4% of the workforce.
Exactly. And
but
it's like,
still.
because all these game studios and everything else, and it's just like, does it feel bleak? It is bleak.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just feels bleak.
It's such a waste, too, because there was so much work that had already been done on all these games that got canceled. Yep. There was Jason Schreier was posting a story today that I think this was the ZeniMax one, the MMO, because obviously ZeniMax Online does the Elder Scrolls Online, but this was a new MMO they were working on called Blackbird, or codenamed Blackbird.
Right.
And apparently Phil Spencer thought it was so good that hilariously named Microsoft exec Matt Booty had to get Phil to stop playing the demo so they could keep having the meeting. This was like some time ago, and that's now canceled as well.
Yeah. So that was like a very extreme step, is to get Phil to stop playing the game, is to cancel it fucking outright. I mean, but you know,
I guess
whatever.
Maybe what were you saying earlier? Like maybe Phil just wanted it for himself.
Yeah, we talked about that previously too. It's like sometimes it's nice for developers to have a game for themselves. We see numbers that say the industry is worth X billion. It is the largest industry on earth, or it is the largest entertainment complex industry on earth, or whatever, right? It's like it's worth billions upon billions of dollars. And so you want to think in the back of your mind that, well, that sounds like then there's room for everybody to make games and to make money. And it's like, right. Because there probably is. There's probably a lot of money floating around. And it's like, well, but did you know if you just cancel a whole bunch of games, and then you only say to everyone, it's like, sorry, there's not 1,000 games you can potentially choose from this year. There's only 100. Then that means that everyone will ultimately have to play those 100 games, because what the fuck else are they going to do, right? All they ever do is spend money on video games. They won't think about doing something else with their money, I don't know, going outside. Like it's kind of weirdly pointless that in the point of like, they keep talking about how big the industry is and how much money that there is there. And it's like, right, but what we want is we want the money to come to only us at the top of the pyramid.
Yeah.
And all these people below us that we have to keep giving money to and keep, providing benefits for, and keep having to listen to them drone on and on about a fair working environment. It's like, fuck those people. And the idea of we'll just vibe code our way out of this bullshit. Don't worry, we'll all make amazing video games with 3 people sitting in a shed somewhere, and you'll get the next Call of Duty coming out of the CEO farting in the middle of his 8 hours of sleep, and it'll be like, oh, there we go, we did it. The next Call of Duty, everybody.
An observation you made also that Paul was talking about was that they were trying to get this word out that it's like, oh, it's mostly just managers.
Yeah.
Right. Because everyone's like, well, managers, they just slow things down.
Mostly managers.
We don't like managers or whatever. And it's like, what did you say? It was like 17% management?
Well, Paul did say that, because I was like, they said mostly, so they mean 4,500 of the 9,000 people? And Paul said, no, it was 17% of the people let go were considered management staff at any level. That could be team leads.
Also, managers do important work.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that you call somebody a manager, but it's like you could be talking about a software team lead whose job it is to corral the work of like 10 people working under them, right?
Yeah.
Or an art director whose job it is to kind of consolidate the work of people under. It's like, so who are you firing in this case? If you're saying, well, these people are managers, and it's like, oh, well, I feel good about that. It's like, these aren't middle managers whose job is to manage the managers and then to pass that on to the managers above them. These could be a lot of people their job it is to coordinate work from people who are working in a larger context. And with those people gone, it's like you're not getting any sort of firm direction from the people who are working on the game specifically. But that's okay, because most likely all those people have been laid off too. Fuck!
I didn't include this in the story, the Subnautica story.
Oh yeah.
But I went looking at went to the Subnautica subreddit to see what the temperature of the community, was not good. They did not like this news.
I bet.
And there was like a mod on a Discord who like knows people on the dev team who was trying to really downplay it. And so obviously I didn't include this in the story because it's like fourth hand stuff, right? But they're like those people weren't even working on Subnautica 2. Like those 3 people, Crafton doesn't tell us what to do. These people are not working on it. And I'm like, sure, but then why in Crafton's press release were they fawning over the dude from striking? Yeah, Callisto Protocol was the game, but it was like Striking Distance Games or whatever it was called. Sure. The company that Crafton owns that made Callisto Protocol, the former Dead Space folks. It's like, well, why in the press release are they like, this guy, he's going to whip this team into shape? And it's like, something's going to be affected.
Yeah.
That's
and clearly you thought like...
You are kidding yourself if you think this change is going to have no effect on Subnautica 2.
Exactly.
So, anyway...
I just want to play Subnautica 2. Really, I really enjoyed / really got freaked out about playing their first 2 games. It's like I just want to play the next one.
Well, it's supposed to be in early access this year.
Well, I won't be playing it until it's done. So
fair enough.
There's lots of other games I need to play still, like Yakuza and whatnot. So that's fine.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to segue early access into a Patreon throw here, and I don't think it works.
Oh, if you want,
don't do early access. Yeah. The whole point of it is that we don't gate stuff.
Yeah.
Everything is here for free. You can watch our stuff, whatever. Hopefully you want to also support us financially at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun or by becoming a member on this YouTube channel. But
you don't get anything earlier than anybody else, but that's fine because, hey, it's kind of nice to just be like, why don't we all just swim in the same sea together? And
but not Subnautica. See, that place looks spooky.
Terrifying.
I wouldn't go there.
Ugh.
No. So thanks for watching and supporting us. We really appreciate it.
And for everybody who supported us on this YouTube channel specifically, your names are coming up after the boop.
Yay! Bye! Ugh.